Hey, my friend, this is Joe Bakhmoutski. I'm the creator of Simplify Cancer. I'm the author of Simplify Cancer Man's Guide to Navigating the Everyday Reality of Cancer. First of all, I want to thank you so much for being here. I want to thank you for getting the book and for taking the time to really work through it because this is something that can help you so much along the way. Because being here, being through when you're dealing with cancer, it's so tough, my friend. I want to acknowledge your struggle. I know it's hard. I know it's hard because I've been there. I've been there myself. Here's a perfect photo of this is me with my family, with my son. And here you can see I'm plugged in. I'm getting chemo at this time. This was my son's birthday, and I had this at the hospital. I'm going to tell you about it later and why I think that's important. But I wanted to draw the line to show you that I'm just like you. I've been there. I'm not a doctor, but I'm the person who's lived this experience. And here I am in this book, in this video course. I'm sharing with you, the things that I wish that were there when I was going through it. I'm sharing the things that I've learned along the way and things that I would have done differently, knowing what I know now. You know what? And you can see the smile on my face. You can see my wife is smiling. We can see we're having a great time. But you know what? It wasn't all smiles. It was tough, right? It's hard. It's a crazy experience. It's the craziest time in your life. And I think it helps you so much to just have the voice of someone who's been there along the way, who can kind of give you advice and be there for you. Because that's what I'm here for. I'm here for you, my friend. I'm here to help you to get through this crazy time in your life so that you can hopefully come out the other side and have the best life that you can. The best life that you deserve despite cancer. Right, and in this book, and in this video course, we're going to talk about the 4 challenges that all of us guys must overcome when we're dealing with cancer. The first one is this is what we're going to cover right now, which is why me. Then we're going to talk about, well, what now, right? We're going to talk about what are the things that you need to know in terms of dealing with treatment. Then we're going to talk about number 3, who's going to be there for me through cancer. Well, we're going to talk about how to get the support that you really want on your terms. And then number 4, how can I deal with uncertainty? How do I deal with worry? How do I deal with waiting in a way that really doesn't stop you from having the life that you want despite cancer? So let's dive right in. This is the first challenge. The first challenge that we all face, right? Because it's just such a scary moment, right? When you find out that you have cancer, it just flips your entire world upside down. Like for me, I remember this crazy moment. I was just in the shower one night and I was just getting myself clean all over, and my hand reached down, to just wash my balls. And I felt something odd, something that shouldn't be there. I found this lump, right there on my testicle. And in that instant, it all came together for me. Why? For weeks, I felt like my underwear just shrunk several sizes. How for weeks I would be lying in bed and I couldn't get to sleep because just everything around my groin just felt odd and weird and uncomfortable, and I couldn't place it. I kept like tossing and turning in bed. I just couldn't get to sleep. And when I was in the shower, like my face, I realized this is it. This is what's been driving me insane, and this is wrong, and this is bad. And my face was like, how in the movie Aliens, they've got this person who all of a sudden, they realize that there is this monster inside them, and it's moving, and it's about to burst out and break through the rib cage and get out, right? And that's what my face was like, right? That's the shock, right? That's the shock that I had, you know? And from then on, things happened, quite quickly. The next day, I raced to the doctors. She sent me for some tests, and I only realized that, I looked at my phone and I saw that my doctor has actually, there was three missed phone calls. And that's when I really realized that she's probably not in a rush to tell me the good news, right? That everything's fine. So it's been a crazy time, and that was only the start of this journey. So it's a crazy time when everything changes in your life and you overcome with these incredible questions, because I really believe that cancer I really believe that cancer is a betrayal, right? It's a betrayal because it's kind of like, imagine the woman you love, the woman who really knows you, who shares your deepest secret, who's really there when you're most vulnerable. Imagine that this woman is cheating on you, right? And you never see it coming, but something tips you off, something that just wasn't right. Maybe it was like a late night text, or maybe another excuse that you just kind of popped up and it didn't really make sense to you. Or maybe it's another story from the past, that comes up that really just doesn't add up. So deep inside, you know that something is wrong, but you can't pin it down. There's no proof, there's no hard evidence, because maybe you're paranoid, or just jealous, right? Because isn't that normal up to a point, right? So you can just cling to this hope, like even like the tiniest gleam of hope that you got it wrong, that it's all just one big mistake, just one a giant misunderstanding. And you know what? You're gonna wake up from this nightmare, and things would go back to normal. The things are gonna go to the way they've always been, right? And cancer just hits you the same way, right? You wish that if only you could go back to the way your life is meant to be. It's a familiar world where you know how things work, where you worry about normal things like, like being late to work, where people like oncologists, they're just locked up in some hospital far, far away, right? Where, you can make plans for tomorrow. But the thing is, there's no going back, right? It's happened, and everything you knew for navigating your life has changed once and for all. I know, my friend. I know how scary, how shocking that is. And that's why I'm here to help. I'm here to help you to kind of make sense of it all and navigate this reality and move forward so that you can have the life that you want on your terms. That is our aim here, right? That is the aim, to have the life that you want and deserve, to be in control of this time in your life right now, right? Because you never see it coming, right? It just springs up on you. You don't expect it, but now that it's in your life, you gotta deal with it, right? It's here, and we gotta be able to deal with this thing. And we wanna take control of the situation and start dealing with it on your terms, because you're overcome with so much stuff, right? All of these epic questions that just shoot out from everywhere, right? I mean, because you really just uh, you're asking yourself, is this thing for real? Could this be even happening to me? To me of all people? I remember that I just couldn't believe it. Cancer? I mean, I always thought this is something that happens to other people, right? Until it happened to me. You get angry, right? I remember just how angry I was. I was like, what have I done to deserve this? I mean, I've been a good person. I've I've tried to look after my people. I was good at my work. Why did it have to be me? And it's completely irrational. It doesn't make sense. But we kind of get angry, and we kind of plead to this higher power to kind of take it back, because it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't be this way. And then we get scared, right? I mean, I know I was scared because you're going, well, what if this whole thing, this treatment, this operation, this chemo, what if it doesn't work? What next? What happens then? And and there's a part of me that felt guilty, knowing like, because you go in, well, what could I prevent? Or could I have done something to catch it earlier, right? Was there anything I could have done to change it? And of course, there never is, right? And then you worry. You constantly worry about big things, about small things, about all these things that just pile up on top of each other, right? Until you can't tell them apart because you're thinking, is this cancer growing? Has it spread? What am I going to do now? But the key thing to remember, and I'm going to talk about it over and over again, is that this cancer thing is never fair. It's never just. And it's never going to make sense, right? It's not a rational thing. We haven't done anything to deserve it, and yet we try to make sense of it. It's built in our nature, especially as men. We try to make things make sense. We try to find meaning. We want to find an explanation because that kind of makes us think that we're in control. And in fact, to be honest, it's the opposite. That's the opposite of what this is. And what ends up happening is that the diagnosis, this whole point when it's handed down to you, becomes a dead weight, right? It becomes something that is holding you back. Because on one level, you kind of live in your life and do the things that you've always done, but at the same time, you're not doing what you've always done. You're spinning your wheels. You're trying to do all of these things at the same time. You're trying to live your life because that doesn't stop, right? You still got to pay your bills. You still got to look after the family. You still got to worry about your home. You've got all these things going on, and yet you're trying to figure out this treatment and navigate this whole, entire new world of oncology. And it's just so crazy. And it's really is starting with diagnosis, and that is something that is like the anchor that is holding you back. So what we're going to talk about next is how do we going to put this diagnosis behind you, right? How we're going to move on with your life in a way that really enables you to put all of your energy in the right place, into dealing with treatment, into getting on top of things that you need to do in your life and enjoying things that you can enjoy. Because life doesn't stop, right? It's the only life that we get. And we're going to talk about the ways how to transition from this thing that's holding you back. We transition that into living the way that you want, having the life that you truly deserve. And I'm going to share with you what I believe is the best way to do it. Something that I've implemented in my life, and I'm going to talk you through it right now. And it's an exercise that I call the big exit. Because really, when you think about it, cancer's made such a huge entrance in your life, right? It's just this big entrance. It just happened, bang, right? It's in your face, and you're forced to deal with it. Well, now we're going to separate. We're going to separate you from what's happened so that you can move forward with your life. And we're going to do this exercise with you right now. And it's a visual thing. It might feel a little weird at this time, but just go with me here because I think that can really, really help you along the way. So imagine, sit back, please, with me right now, and just imagine that you're in a theater. Imagine that this is like an old school theater. There's no one there but you. You're sitting in your seat. The lights are dimmed. There's an empty stage in front of you. You're comfortable. You're sitting there. You're looking at the stage. Suddenly, the lights start to go up. And there's something that is happening out there on the stage. And as you look at it closer, there's people, some sort of action taking place. And now you realize, you recognize it for what it is. It's a scene that you are intimately familiar with. It's something that you've seen before. And it's the time when you found out that you have cancer. And you remember it perfectly well. You remember where you were, the room that you're in. You remember how big the room is. You remember how the lights are. You remember the person talking to you. Maybe it's your doctor. You remember what they're saying. You remember the words that they use. You remember the expression on their face. You remember the tonality of how they say it. You remember your own place in the room. You remember where you're at. Maybe you're sitting down. You remember how that feels like. You remember your first initial reaction. You remember what that feels like. You remember the first train of thoughts that comes into your mind. And you're overcome with it because you remember exactly what it was like. And as you're in it, as you're in this experience, and you can tell how it feels because it's so familiar, you also can't help but think that you have done this before. It's already happened. It's already in the past. It's already in a place in your life that doesn't have to affect you any longer because it's already happened. And now you have the right to get up and walk away. So in your head mentally, you get up from your seat. I want you to do that with me now. Just imagine that you stand up from your seat and you turn around. You turn around and you see over there in the distance at the end of the theater, you see the exit sign flashing in the distance. And in your mind, you are walking towards it. You're walking, there's empty rows of empty seats. You're walking past them on your left, on your right. You're making your way slowly. And behind you, behind your back, you can tell that there is still something happening out on the stage. There's still people there. They're still saying something, but you are walking away from it. I want you to imagine right now, literally behind your back. I want you to imagine this behind your back. Use your hands if you want to. Just, you can kind of feel so that you can feel it in your spine, right? Feel it that it's behind you. And you're walking away from it. You're walking away from your diagnosis. You're walking towards the exit, right? And you're heading towards the exit. And you come out. And you come out in the place where you are, right? You come out in the place you walk into the rest of your life. The life that you deserve, the life where you're gonna put your energy towards dealing with treatment. The life where you spend your time with people that you care about. The life where you spend time doing things that are important to you, that are gonna give you joy, they're gonna light you up, they're gonna be fun, they're gonna be interesting, they're just gonna be entertaining, right? That's what you are here to do. That's our life, right? That is the first step of our aim framework, right? This is what we talked about. This is our aim to have the life that you want despite cancer. This is so A stands for accept. Later we're going to talk about integrating it and move on. But the thing is that when you fully accept your cancer, now you can start to deal with it in a calm, measured way. Now you can work out a plan of action, and now you can take back control so that you are in the driving seat, so that you are the one making decisions every step of the way, right? And I want to formalize this step with you. I want to take it one step further. And I want to formalize it in an agreement, right? We're going to formalize it in terms of an agreement, in terms of an acceptance agreement with cancer, right? And it's going to be in your pack, but I want to go through and read it word for word with you right now, right? So this is the deal we're making, the deal with the devil. Here is the deal, and this is what we're saying here, right? This is the part of the deal we're making. You are a part of me, and it's a part that I don't like. This is what you're saying to the cancer, right? You appeared out of nowhere unasked, but I'm willing to live with it for now. You do not under any circumstances, control my life. You cannot direct what I do or don't do. So let's agree on this. You're a part of me, but then you're gonna never stop me from living my life the way that I want to. I'm gonna talk about you with everyone that I care about. And I'm gonna tell them how I'm doing and how they can be there for me. I'm gonna live out my passions and do the things that I love with people that I care about every single day. Because with or without you, this is the only life that I get. I'm gonna find out as much as I can about you so I can put you in your place, and that place is out of my way. These are my final terms, and this is my last and final offer. Take it and leave me be. Signed, your name. That, my friend, is the acceptance agreement, the deal with the devil, that we sign it and we formalize it. It's a ritual. We put it in its place. I've got a template for you that you can print out in the pack. It's all there in the links. You can print it out and put it somewhere where you can see. Maybe it's in your garage, maybe it's in your kitchen, wherever that place is, somewhere where you can see it, somewhere where you can acknowledge it. Because when you do it, it stops having control on you, right? And I'm going to give you the full template. If these words don't ring true to you, you can change it and make it whatever you want it to be so that it says what you want it to say. But it's your agreement. And you take on the things that you want to take on so that you can finally move forward away from this thing, right? So let's move on. Let's talk about kind of how we live a double life, right? It's like this cancer makes you be like this double agent. You've got this life before cancer, right? On one hand, where you've got routines, where you kind of know what you're gonna do. You get up in the morning, you make your coffee, you have your breakfast, you have your shower, you say goodbye to your wife, whatever it is that you do, right? You've got a routine, right? It's stable, it's predictable, you know what to expect, you know how it's going to play out, right? It's very familiar, it feels your own. And yet you've got this other life, the life that kind of happens along with cancer, right? Because you got to go to these appointments and to all these tests. Some of them are really not fun, huh? And then you got to deal with these specialists, and they could be different specialists, and maybe they've got all these different things that are going on. You have to figure out this whole treatment. How's that going to work, and how's that going to fit into, your world? You've got these worries that you have to deal with, and pain, and things change, right? Your life changes, and you have to try to figure out how it all fits together, and nothing's for certain anymore, right? It's just crazy. It's kind of like two roads. They're kind of running in parallel, right? And these two things, they're fighting for attention, right? Each one of them wants to take place, and it's hard, right? This is kind of like having two different thoughts at the same time. And that's what makes it so painful. That's what makes it so hard, right? Because what we want to do is make it a part of your life. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds weird. I know you didn't ask for it. But when it all becomes a part of your life, it's embedded into the way you do things. Now you're not trying to look the other way. It's all together. It's all the one road. And the road, remember, as we talked about, the road is towards our big aim, right? And the aim is to have the life that you want despite cancer, right? You're not going to let it stop you from doing what you want to do. You're not going to let it happen. So that's why it's important to talk about the second step of our aim framework, which is to integrate, right? Where you make cancer a part of your life in order to understand exactly what's going on every step of the way so that you can make decisions about what's right for you and your life, right? There's no more nasty surprises. You really understand what's going on and you have a plan to deal with it, right? That's what it's all about. Because being prepared, being prepared when you know what's going on means that you can make informed decisions about treatment. And that's huge, right? You are the one that is in control. You are the one making decisions, right? And that is incredibly empowering. You know how to deal with side effects when they come up, and they will, right? But you are prepared. You know what's going on, so that it's no longer a shock. You no longer feel lost. You kind of know what to do. You're gonna get the support that you want when you need it, right? That's a huge thing because we don't want the support that people can give us on their terms. We want it to make it work for you and your life. And you also know when to raise a red flag with your specialist or your nurse, and you know what should happen, what shouldn't happen, what are the things to look out for, right? That is incredibly important. And also, you could work out a way to manage your energy so that you're not wearing yourself out, so that you're not tired all the time, so that you're not pushing yourself too far, right? You're doing things when you need to do them. And you also have a plan for what you need to do when things don't go to plan, right? Because inevitably they don't, right? Sometimes things kind of pop up out of nowhere and you have to deal with it. And being prepared means that you can plan for it. You can plan for different scenarios, and they can really change things up but being prepared really helps you along the way because you can also focus on having the life that you want beyond cancer, right? Because it kind of just takes over our attention, but the truth is that we can still focus and bring it back to where you want to be, right? And you can effectively become the expert on your own illness. That is the ultimate thing. And how you can do that is you can spend 10 to 15 minutes reading at least 3 to 5 articles about treatment on a reputable, evidence-based website, right? You can do that on Cancer Council here in Australia. You can do it on the NZAP website, which I love. If you've got a below the belt cancer, like prostate cancer or testicular cancer, there's plenty of websites. But if you spend 10 to 15 minutes a week reading at least 3 to 5 articles about your treatment, you're going to be on top of things. That will give you enough grounding to look for clues that apply to you, and then you can figure out what are the chances or more questions for your specific situation or where you're at with treatment or whatever your type of cancer is, right? So when you have an understanding, when you have a high level understanding where you're at from reading these articles and understanding what's going on, you can kind of, you'll have more questions, right? We all do, right? And then you can reach out and to people who've been through it before, right? You can reach them out on an online forum for your type of cancer. I'm going to give you the exact step to do everything here. I'm going to break it down, where to find these forums, where to find those people, how to phrase your questions. So I'm going to give you all of that. We're going to cover that, all of this information, what to do in challenge number 2 and challenge number 3. I'm going to cover this all to make sure you're completely on top of this. But now I'm just kind of covering things at a high level. I'm giving you an overall, roadmap of where we're going, right? So that when you go to these forums, right, when you find people who've been through it before, you can post a question about what is bothering you and get specific, targeted responses for people who know exactly what it's like, right? And that's going to be huge, and that's going to be really important. And we're going to talk about how to put worry in its place, because that's a huge thing, right? We're going to talk about worry time. I'll walk you through it right now. We're going to talk about worry list and how they can help you get on top of your worries. And also in challenge number 2, we're going to talk about specifically, dealing with particular worries and how we can break it down with the outcome map. I'll show you that tool in challenge number 2. So, because it's so crazy, right? You get all of these worries that come up, right? It's kind of like an argument, an argument with someone you love, like with, say, your partner, right? It's kind of like an argument where it's just, something happens and this person pisses you off, and maybe you don't kind of bring it up and you just let it sit there, and it's bothering you, and it starts to get to you, and you can't stop thinking about it, and in a way, you gotta get it out of your system, and you just gotta bring yourself up to it, and really face it and tackle it head on. But it's so hard to do, right? Because we are so in it, right? And that's what we want to do. We want to bring these worries out into the open, to the place where we can deal with it. And that's why this whole worry time idea is kind of interesting, right? Because we can say that when the worry comes up, you can say to yourself, well, I'm gonna deal with it later, right? I'm gonna deal with it later. I'm gonna worry about it later. I know it sounds weird, but you can set it off for later and have a dedicated time in your day and give it, let's say, 10 minutes in your day. And, set a time for 7 o'clock or maybe after dinner and say, I'm going to worry about it now, right? And so you push all of your worries and put them in that time frame where you can sit down and think it through. So you time box it, right? You give it a start and an end, end date, so that you've got this time to kind of worry about it. I know it sounds weird, right? But at the same time, you can contain it, right? It doesn't start to take over your life, right? Just don't set up this worry time. Don't set up before bed, because that can really mess up with the way that you do things. But otherwise, it's a great tool that can hugely help you along the way. So now let's talk about the worry list, right? And how it can help you. It can really help you to bring out whatever is bothering you out in the open. Because I gotta tell you that whatever is happening in your life right now, with all of these worries, these things become tangled up, right? You might get a headache, and now you think, oh, wait, could this be cancer? Could this be like a tumor in my brain? Could this be growing? What happens if I'm gonna die? I mean, is anyone gonna miss me? Right? You go on to this spiral of doom, right? Where you started with this one innocent thing that might not even mean anything, and now it's just taken over. But all this stuff. So having these things in front of you can kind of just really help you to put it in context and really understand where you're at, so you can untangle these things and decide what's what, so you can kind of deal with it there and then, right? That's what it's about. So you can really find out whatever is really bothering you and how it got to you in the first place, right? And sometimes the solution is hidden in plain sight, but it will become obvious once you see it, because some of those things you didn't expect to be there, right? You were just so taken over by the effect that you didn't really see of what it was in the first place. So zooming out really brings you this great clarity around what's happening and how to deal with those problems, so you can tackle it head on and understand what was bothering you. So you can now understand what the problem is. You can pinpoint it, and now you can decide what to do next. That puts it back into your control, because you worked through them, you analyze it. And I want you to do it with me right now. So please take the pen and paper. Please take the pen and put this thing on pause and just write down everything that's bothering you about cancer right now. Don't think about it. Don't filter it. Just go for it. Just don't think about it. Just write it out. Just put it all out there on the page, because some things are going to surprise you, right? Don't censor it. Just let it go. So please put this on pause and spend 2 to 3 minutes just writing it out. Please do it for me. All right, so hopefully you've done it. And now if you look at this, you'll notice that it's not what you expected, right? There's going to be some things that kind of surprised you, some things that are maybe obvious, right? It's an interesting exercise to really see what's bothering you and decide what you can do about it to see like how big and scary it really is so you can kind of work out what to do next. I know it sounds simple, but it can make a huge difference to really place it and stop it from running your life, right? Because when you're in control of those things, when you're in control of what's happening, you can achieve the aim number three, the third part of aim, which is move on, right? This is what we want to be able to do once you're in control of your worries, once you're in control of the situation. You can now move on towards peace of mind or relative peace of mind, to a place where we can talk about sidelining uncertainty and how to move on with your life despite worry, despite waiting, despite the craziness, right? I'm going to talk about it in detail in challenge number 4, which is dealing with waiting and uncertainty. I'm going to walk you through each of the 3 support pillars in terms of uncertainty so you can regain some of that stability, make life a bit more predictable, a bit more calm, right? I'm going to give you all the tools for that. That's coming up in challenge number 4. Please don't jump ahead. Please go through it from challenge number 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. It's all got important stuff and it's built and designed that way, right? Because it builds on top of each other. But we're going to cover it all, my friend. It's all here for you to make sure that you're in a good place, right? One thing I'll say though, one thing I will say is that movement is key. I know it's something that isn't obvious, but when it comes to treatment, when it comes to uncertainty, one of the huge things that you can do for yourself is to be moving more and more as you go through life, right? It's whatever that you can do right now. Maybe it's going for a run. For me, it was going for a walk. This was something that my oncologist recommended for me. He said, when I was going through chemo, we were in this place where we didn't know how this chemo is going to affect me because it might kill my lungs. So he asked me to go for a nightly walk. And you know what? No matter how tired I was, no matter how crap I felt, and this whole treatment lasted 9 weeks, I would drag myself out of the house and go for this walk, right? And it made me feel better, right? All the research points towards that movement is key and doing whatever you can do. Maybe you can't do exercise, but maybe you can. Maybe you can do some exercise. This is where your specialist, your oncologist, or your urologist might be able to help. Maybe a exercise physiologist, whoever that is, right? We're going to talk about that in more detail later. But just remember that the more you move, the more it helps you with fatigue, the more it helps you with your mindset, the more it helps you with your energy and how you feel in life. And that's going to make a tremendous difference in your life. So, my friend, the choice here is yours. And I know that's a simple choice to make because that's where we all are. You're in this place in your life where you got landed and hit in the face with cancer. And that's hard. I know. But still, ultimately, it's up to you. Ultimately, you decide. Are you going to drown yourself in pity and misery and feeling sorry for yourself? Or are you going to look for ways to get around the inevitable worry and pain that comes with cancer to do the things that you need to do? Are you going to take things as they come and just take it, do what you're told? Or are you going to take charge of the situation? Take charge of your future so that you can start to make informed decisions about what's right for you and for your life. Are you going to suffer alone and just keep it to yourself? Or are you going to speak up about your struggles so you can get the support that you want on your terms? Are you going to beat yourself up about all the mistakes that you made and roads not taken and things that didn't go your way? Or are you going to create a legacy that serves the people that you care about and move forward instead of thinking about the past? Right? Because that's what it's all about. The past has already happened. It doesn't matter. It's all about where you are now and where you're going. Are you going to be chained to doing things that you never asked for in the first place? Commitments, or doing things that you've done out of habit because it's on other people's agenda? Or are you going to do more of the things that you love? Things that bring you joy, things that are fun, things that are interesting, things that get you fired up, that you're passionate about. And once again, are you going to dwell on things that have already happened in the past? Or are you going to live in the now? Live in the moment and give yourself fully. Give yourself fully to your experience and doing things that you love and being present and there and doing things on your terms so that you can have the life that you want, the life that you deserve, my friend. I think the answer is easy, right? The answer is here, and the answer is in you, and the answer belongs to the man that you are right now. So let's wrap up and let's talk about these action steps, right? These are the mindsets that I believe you can take on moving forward, right? I want you to say to yourself that, I believe that cancer is never just or fair, and it makes no sense at all. I understand that none of this is my fault. I accept that for the time being, cancer is a part of my life and that I will plan my life around it as best as I possibly can. From now on, I'm going to be informed about treatment options so that I can make the best decisions for me and my life moving forward. I'm going to be prepared for treatment so that I know what to expect. I will use every tool at my disposal to deal with stress and worry and uncertainty during cancer. I will be connected with people that I care about by being direct and honest and open about where I am so that they can help me to get through this. Right? This is our aim for best life that you can have despite cancer. This is what we talked about. Accept. Putting your diagnosis behind you so that you can focus on treatment and focus on having the life that you can. Integrate so that you become the expert in your disease so that you have the confidence of making decisions and knowing what's going on every step of the way and become in control of the situation. And finally, move on so that you can tackle worry head on and you can have the peace of mind that you so desperately need right now. I know it's hard, my friend. I know you're in a tough place, but I'm here with you. I'm here with you, and we're gonna move forward with life despite cancer. Because by now, you and me have had proof that this is the only life that we get. I know it's hard, but I'm here with you, and you can do this. I want to thank you with everything that I have for going through this, for getting this book, for doing this online course. I want you to thank you for sticking through this first challenge with me. Why me? Because it's a tough thing to get handle over. I want to thank you so much for taking your time to do this, and from now on, I will see you in challenge number 2. Again, this is Joe Bakhmoutski. I'm the creator of Simplify Cancer and the author of Simplify Cancer, Man's Guide to Navigating Everyday Reality of Cancer. Thank you so much for watching this. I will see you in the next challenge, challenge number